What's up, everybody? This is Eric from GameShampoo.com, and I'm back another week, another video talking about some news and reviews, upcoming games, all that good stuff. I have a swivel chair. This is pretty fun. Whoa. Whoa. News. Today's Sunday. It is January the 20th, and it's like 10:30 at night because that camera retains like 5 seconds of charge, so I had to keep charging it. But finally have enough to actually film this, and I just put up a review of Super Amazing Wagon Adventure. I played it on the PC. It's also available on Xbox Live Indie Games, and there's even a Greenlight thing up on Steam. They're collecting support for the game, trying to get it out to as many people as possible. It's this super small little indie game, almost like a weird combination of WarioWare meets Oregon Trail, meets like a scrolling shooter. I think the example I gave in the review was R-Type, but you can really kind of stick in any scrolling, side-scrolling shooter like that. It sounds crazy. It is a crazy game, really. Kind of like this. The base state for playing the game is just kind of scrolling shooter where you're moving your characters up and down on the screen and killing wildlife, getting their pelt, and fighting off bandits and stuff like that. And then all of these randomized events will come into play, so that you'll have to basic example is that you're crossing a river and you can cross it and like avoid the rapids, or you can try to jump over it, and then you might land safely on the other side, or you might land in a hornet's nest and have to avoid some bees or something like that. But eventually it gets really crazy and you start like tripping on mushrooms, and like the game like quote unquote glitches out, and it ends up spitting you into like this weird glitch world, and you have to like fight off glitches and stuff like that. So it's a super weird game, a really strange sense of humor that one has, but I thought it was pretty fun. Go check out the review, and if you have Desura, you can get it on Desura for $3. If you have Xbox Live, you can get it on Indie Games for, I believe, $1, 80 Microsoft points, which, you can't really beat that. And if you don't have any of those things, hopefully should be coming to Steam pretty soon. I think it's a cool little game. I think it would be perfect for like mobile platforms like Android, iOS, or something like that. Really like to have that game in my pocket. But no news on that so far. Really like swivel chairs. I could not pay attention in any computer lab class because the swivel chair takes priority over everything, except for Borderlands 2. There's some like new skins, new heads coming out to Borderlands 2 in just a couple days now, and those have all been priced. You can get your hands on all of them for $5, and you can pick them up individually if you want to do that instead. But no price has been announced for individual heads or skins just yet, so you might want to hold off on planning which ones you're going to buy until you hear how much they might cost, because historically some of those things have been a little more expensive than they probably should be. But yeah, in Borderlands 2, just getting some new customization options, that's always nice, especially with the Sir Hammerlock's Big Game Hunt expansion just coming out, adding somewhere between 5 and 10 hours. 10's probably being a little generous, but let's say 5 and 8 hours of new gameplay. You could really stretch it out if you really wanted to, but we have a review up of that as well, and I thought it was pretty cool. So I don't want to say too much because obviously I want you to go check out the review yourself, but I think that Borderlands 2 is doing pretty well in terms of the expansion so far. And it's still not quite on that level of something like the Zombie Apocalypse DLC from the first game, which just totally retconned everything throughout all the established fiction and gave us this kind of alternate reality scenario that I thought was really cool. And, you know, all the Borderlands 1 DLC really did that to a certain extent, and I like that a lot. Borderlands 2 hasn't quite gotten to that point yet, but I still think the new DLC is pretty good. So go check out our review, and also check out this article that we put up about an increased level cap in the coming DLC. Gearbox has promised that the level cap will go up, although they have not specified by how much, and it should be raised by March, so that gives us about a month and a half, if they mean, you know, by the start of March. Otherwise, about 2.5 months for an increased level cap. They say it should be pretty significant, so you know, that sounds like about 5 to 10 levels, which would be, you know, that if they're going to increase the level cap, they're clearly going to have more DLC coming after that. We reported on a second season of DLC being potentially in the works, and that definitely sounds like something that's going to happen now. And one more Borderlands 2 thing, and then we'll talk about things that aren't Borderlands related. There was a compatibility bug, compatibility pack bug, excuse me, for all these customization things that they've been putting out, and they just had to release this compatibility pack to let everybody play together regardless of whether or not they had downloaded all of this various DLC that's coming out. And there were a few bugs with that were stopping people from partying up together with their friends and getting online, and Gearbox has squashed those bugs, and so the compatibility pack on the Xbox 360 works just fine now. Still talking about the Xbox 360, so let's keep that going with the second Kinect. The word is that developers are getting their hands on the second Kinect. Just going to call it Kinect 2, I guess. There's no official name for it or anything like that just yet. Earlier in the month, we showed off this footage that Microsoft themselves put out of the Kinect working with a projector to actually project this kind of image around the television monitor and kind of project gameplay footage into the living room. And it looked interesting. They were showing it off with Halo and a few other games, and it looked kind of disorienting, really, but obviously that's not final tech. Or at least I'm assuming that's not final tech. If it is, then I'm not very cool with that. But nobody really knows too much about the actual hardware of the next Kinect just yet. So word has it that certain European developers are already getting their hands on the next Kinect, and they're obviously developing some games for that. And we are speculating that Crysis developer Crytek might just be that developer. They are European, and they're developing a Kinect-based medieval action game. I believe it's a Roman action game. It's called Rise, with a Y, because they always have to spell everything wrong. Crytek, with a Y. And they've been developing Rise for a while now. Their tech is clearly good enough that it could be used for an early next-gen game. I mean, just look at how good Crysis 3 looks. That could, you know, obviously that could scale up pretty easily to the next generation of consoles. I'm assuming it's going to look great on PC. That's definitely where I'm going to play it. But they've been developing Rise for so long that it almost wouldn't make sense for them to put it out on the current Xbox, or, you know, it would make more sense for them to put it out on the current Xbox and the next generation Xbox, or something like that. But they're going to want to ensure that that gets as large of a following and as much attention as humanly possible, because they've clearly been working on it for a while now. And we haven't heard much about it since, which indicates that it could very well be a next-gen title, even a launch title. So keep your eyes out for some more Kinect news, and keep your eyes out for some more Xbox 720, as people have been calling it, news, because we are getting word that Microsoft and Skype are signing deals for voice chat on the next Xbox. This comes according to CVG, Computer and Video Gaming, that Microsoft has signed a deal with Skype to do all their voice chat for the next generation Xbox console. So basically that would give us, increased clarity of audio, and possibly even video chat. Excuse me. I have a really slightly weird throat. But yeah, it could even give us video calls, especially if the next Kinect is really as advanced as we're starting to hear. The current Kinect has video chat, but it's just dumb. Honestly, it doesn't work that great. It's not why you go out and buy a Kinect, and I don't feel like it's really integrated into a lot of games, as well as that really old Xbox Live, I think it was the Vision camera, was back when that Uno game came out on Xbox Live Arcade. People were on their cameras and playing Uno. That was really cool. That was a lot of fun, and I think it would be cool if the next Kinect could bring a few experiences like that to the table, because the current one is kind of all about the dance and fitness games at this point, and the swearing into the Kinect with Dead Space 3. Segue, Dead Space 3, we have a quote from producer Steve Papoutsis, who says the game is not a survival horror game. He doesn't want to, pigeonhole it into that kind of one genre, and instead he says it's a mixture of action, atmosphere, and this kind of tension, this kind of building horror, and he says that's what the series has always been about. Got the exact quote. I don't like to categorize Dead Space as survival horror. He said, I just think of it as a Dead Space game, so you need immersion, tension, a great atmosphere, great sound, and yes, action. If you have all these things, you have a Dead Space game. So does that mean that Dead Space 3 is going to be shying away from this kind of grim horror sort of atmosphere? Because the first game certainly was pretty scary. The second game I didn't think was really scary at all, and that was kind of disappointing. And then the first media that we saw of the third game is just co-op, and they're fighting a giant drill and these giant monsters with glowing weak joints on their elbows and stuff like that. Kind of almost Lost Planet-ish, and wherever the series goes, for me personally, as long as it maintains that quality of really smooth gunplay and really precise control, and I'm totally on board. But I can definitely see how a certain audience would be very disappointed with the game if it didn't at least try to maintain a certain level of kind of tension and that kind of body horror stuff that the series is known for in some of its grosser moments. What else did we have this week? Microsoft is giving back $20 with the purchase of upcoming Xbox 360 games, and it does not have to be an exclusive title. The list of titles is as follows: Army of Two, The Devil's Cartel, BioShock Infinite, Crysis 3, Dead Space 3, Grand Theft Auto 5, Lost Planet 3, Metal Gear Rising, Revengeance, South Park, The Stick of Truth, Tiger Woods PGA Tour 13, and Tomb Raider. So buy any of these games from the Microsoft Store, which is their online storefront. We have the link in the article. And you will get $20 back. The catch being that it's not actually $20. it's $20 worth of Microsoft points, so 1,600 Microsoft points. So, kind of, the deal is spend money with Microsoft, get more money to spend with Microsoft. But it's still a really good deal. There's definitely going to be some good stuff on the Xbox Live Arcade this year, and there's definitely going to be a few interesting things on the next generation of Xbox, at least I should hope, when it presumably launches later this year. I don't know if I don't know exactly what that translation rate will be, or if they're going to even keep using points as they go into the next generation. You know, you've heard rumors, the latest of which I think was about a year ago, that Microsoft was going to be ditching the Microsoft points at some point. Seems like next gen would be a pretty good opportunity for them to get on a real people money currency. But regardless, pretty great looking games overall in that list. Definitely a few of them made our most anticipated games of the year list. BioShock Infinite topped the list. Dead Space 3 came in at number 10. Tomb Raider was on there at 9. A lot of great looking games on there, and you get some money back. So if you play on the Xbox, why not? You know. And hey, if you've missed Xbox Live Arcade games in the past, you can always just use those free points to go back and get them. Mark of the Ninja was great last year. Fez was great. Trials was great. Something else last year that was really good. There were various great things last year on the Live Arcade that you definitely should play if you haven't yet. Alright, next is The Elder Scrolls Online. We've got a big trailer for this one up, although it doesn't feature any gameplay footage, which was a little disappointing. It features a lot of concept art and developers, storytellers, just talking about the massive, giant chunk of lore that is going into this game. And what they're discussing here is the game's various factions and how they kind of stack up against each other, you know, where their allegiances lie, and what each faction kind of stands for. So, if you are, let's say, not super well versed in the world of Skyrim, Morrowind, etc., go check out that trailer, figure out who you want to be. If you already know, you know, what faction you want to play as and all that stuff, that's great, but this trailer primarily seems to serve for people who aren't sure what they want to roleplay yet. And that game also made our top 10 most anticipated games of 2013 list. It's looking awesome, so you definitely want to check that trailer out. And I'm saying that as somebody who cannot stand MMOs. But I love the Elder Scrolls, so I am optimistic for it. I've got a God of War Ascension single-player trailer, which is awesome. Not the trailer itself, but it's awesome that we have a trailer for it. Finally, because it's been, what, like 8 months now since we've seen the single-player? And that was at E3 last year, and that was the only chunk of single-player that we saw the entire time in the game's entire development, and they've just been pumping out multiplayer stuff since then. There's a multiplayer beta going on right now. For our PlayStation Plus members, they've actually opened it up over the weekend, continuing through Monday. Tomorrow is a holiday, so it's continuing through the holiday weekend. And they've opened it up for anyone to play, but like I said, that's only through tomorrow. PlayStation Plus members get a little bit longer in there. I've heard it's pretty good, actually. But that's not really why I want to play a God of War game. So I've been really curious about the single player. And so we've got this trailer. It shows off some enemies. It shows off what looks like a boss fight or two. And maybe most importantly, the beginning actually shows off a little bit of Kratos. His relationship with his wife and his child, which we never really saw in the last games, except for in these really quick flashback sequences where he's pretty much just murdering them. So that could be really interesting if they do it right and if they manage to get kind of a convincing relationship going between Kratos and his family. One of the big bummers about God of War 3 was how rushed that thing with Calliope, I think her name was how he just met her and then instantly is like, oh, I love you, you're awesome, whatever. But yeah, speaking of PS3 stuff, Skyrim for the PS3. Nobody ever thought this day would come. But Skyrim for the PS3 is getting the DLC, guys. It's getting DLC. It's actually getting it. All 3 next month. And that's that story. So Skyrim for PS3, yeah, it's getting Hearthfire, Dawnguard, and Dragonborn all next month. Dragonborn's coming first. The rest will follow, like, I'm assuming like a week later. And yeah, it's kind of surprising. Honestly, I never thought that would happen. But good on them for like muscling their way through that and finally getting all that content out. Whether or not there is a big audience for that anymore, not totally sure, but we'll find out. And I think some of that DLC stuff looks pretty cool, so I don't think you should necessarily, if you have a PS3, just immediately discount it because, like, oh, you know, their support for PS3 was kind of crappy. But as far as what I've heard, you know, I play the game on the Xbox. As far as what I've heard, the game has been fixed pretty substantially on the PS3 since it came out. And yeah, played Dawnguard and played Hearthfire, and they're both interesting enough to definitely warrant checking out when they come out for PS3. So yeah, pretty cool. Speaking of DLC, master segues over here. Assassin's Creed 3's will be coming to the Wii U. Or I guess rather it already has at the time of this writing. Time of this speaking. All that stuff, the Lost Expeditions or whatever it was, I don't even remember what that was called anymore. So much DLC stuff going on over the last week. What is it? Hidden Secrets Pack, that's what it was. Hidden Secrets Pack is $5. It includes 3 missions, the Ghost of War, the Mayan Ruins, and a Dangerous Secret. That's out now for the Wii U. The Battle Hardened Pack, also out now. It's a multiplayer thing. $10, includes 3 new characters. There's the fearsome Coyote Man, the Governor, and the Highlander. And there are 3 new multiplayer maps: Charlestown, Fort St. Matthew, yeah, and St. Pierre multiplayer maps. And the Tyranny of King Washington, I said that one weird, is expected to be out on the service eventually. Obviously it's not out on other things yet. Whether or not it's going to be coming out day and date with the other platforms and stuff, it's kind of vague, but I highly doubt it. But if you own that game on the Wii U, check that stuff out. It's not bad. It's not like great either. I have the Season Pass on the PC. The multiplayer stuff is pretty cool. I'm always down for more maps. I think the multiplayer in that game and the other 2 as well is really great. Really interesting stuff they do there. Alright, 2 more pieces of news, and then we're going to talk about some reviews and then talk about next week's stuff, which will be more reviews. So 2 more things, and these are both Japan-centric news items. So first of all, Pandora's Tower is coming out on the Wii in North America at last. This is courtesy of Xseed, who also published the last story for the Wii last year in 2012. And, you know, most likely all due to the Operation Rainfall fan initiative, I suppose, that's eventually become this full-blown website. But yeah, the game's already been out in Europe, and it's already been out in Japan for a while. And it's finally coming to North America. We don't have an exact release date, but, you know, scores, reviews, all that stuff is already up on Metacritic, so if you really want to know if you want the game, you can always go check out Metacritic. And, alright, saving the weirdest story for last. I'm just looking at it now, and I don't even know, man. Actually, you know what? We got a couple more stories after this one, so it's okay. I'd almost forgotten about them, but they're pretty big. So saving the weirdest story for third to last. Funimation is distributing this anime. It's called Senran Kagura, and it's about a bunch of female ninjas. Take a long drink for this one and just prepare for the weird, kind of uncomfortable things to come. So, female ninjas, and they're fighting it up, and the first 2 episodes of that are up on Funimation's website right now. They're they're subbed in English. Voiceovers are still in Japanese, obviously. And they're going to continue work to distribute that in North America, which, cool, I guess, for fans of anime, otaku, that kind of stuff. So, the show is based on an original manga, and it centers on this group of female ninjas who, you know, hone their battle. Lots of comedy, lots of fan service going on there, and there's a 3DS title based off of this coming to the eShop. It's already out in Japan, and there's loose talk saying that it might be coming to the United States as well. But that loose talk is Senran Kagura Bursts, that's the name of the game, producer Kenichiro Takaki saying on Twitter that he's going to wrap the world in happy boobs next year. I don't know that I'm comfortable with that. And then it just gets weirder from there. I'm just gonna read from the article because I don't even know how to. The fan service factor has to be high as a property known for its assets. This is addressed by the game's damage system, which, like a seedy nightclub, progressively peels clothing off of the leading ladies as they take hits. So yeah, it's one of those games. Every time your girl gets hit, her clothes just like explode off of her body until, I'm assuming, she's in her undergarments, and then you lose. You're dead. Game over. Nudity is death. So yeah, I mean, if you're really into beating and disrobing women, that might be coming to the eShop soon. 2 more stories. These ones a lot bigger and actually worthy of being last. First is a Gears of War Judgement preview. A lot of details on that game, both in terms of the single player and the multiplayer. New weapon types, you have several new weapon types in there. New enemy type, new type of locust, which might be kinda stupid to longtime fans who know that this Judgement game is a prequel to the other ones, so where does the new one come from? Well, they've retconned it into the fiction by saying that these berserker enemies are so reckless when they go into a berserker mode and then they just charge at you, that they've all just died out before the first game, which is, yeah, whatever. That's believable enough of an excuse to put in new enemy types. It's, you know, it's better than not putting in any new enemies, so that certainly looks cool. And then we've got fresh details on new multiplayer maps, and should be pretty cool. So check that out. And finally, there's a LEGO Marvel Superheroes info blowout up on the site. Warner Brothers and Traveler's Tales Games just announced this new LEGO game. We've got everything, characters, settings, all that good stuff, everything that they've confirmed so far, and a few pieces of speculation based on the concept art and stuff like that that they've been putting out. You know, I'm not one to get very excited for a LEGO game, but I'm excited for this LEGO game. It looks cool. So that's everything for last week. Let's get on to next week. On the 22nd, Ni No Kuni Wrath of the White Witch is coming out exclusively for the PlayStation 3, and this is a new JRPG from Level 5 and Studio Ghibli, so it should theoretically be pretty cool. I've been hearing mixed things about it so far. We're going to have an unboxing, we're going to have a review of it, so look out for both of those. And that's going to be pretty much it for the big releases in terms of January. However, if I can find anything small that's pretty cool, like I stumbled upon Super Amazing Wagon Adventure last week, thought that was really cool looking, so I got it and reviewed it. So you know, if I find anything small that's coming out, I will definitely check that out too. In fact, let's head over to Steam's front page right now and see if they think anything, or see if they are saying there's anything else coming out in January, but I think that's basically it. However, next weekend we're going to have some cool stuff going up in terms of video content, not necessarily related to video games. Next weekend, Saturday and Sunday, as fans of Magic know, is the release event for the Gatecrash set, and we're going to be there, and we are going to be playing some games of Magic that night at a local hobby shop, and after that we're going to be checking out all the new decks that are coming out, and all the new cards in that set in greater detail, and have a look at the artwork on that stuff, and have a look at, you know, what every new creature, enchantment, all those new spells do. So that should be a lot of fun. And now we're on Steam and seeing what is coming soon. And hey, The Cave is coming out this month in like 3 days, and I totally forgot about that, so it's a good thing that I went to go check Steam. Because The Cave is coming out from Double Fine and Ron Gilbert. It's going to be a pretty big deal. Also, DMC Devil May Cry is coming out on PC this coming week, I should mention that. It's coming out on the 25th of January. We have a review up for the Xbox 360 version on the site right now, and we give it a pretty good score, so go check that out if you haven't already. The only difference, as far as I'm aware, between the PC version and the Xbox 360 version is that the 360 version runs at 30 frames a second. PC version I've seen get up to 200. So, I mean, theoretically that should be pretty great, just like the console versions. And then after that we're going to have Dead Space 3 stuff, and Aliens Colonial Marines, a big unboxing going on with the special edition of that game. So I'm going to remind you again, I brought it up a little bit last week, but remind you again to check that out. February 12th is when that game comes out. And again, that's pretty much all that I have in mind for the next week right now. But of course we're going to be putting up plenty of news articles every day, plenty of guides, working on some Devil May Cry guides to go up soon, and also in terms of guides, just finishing out Far Cry 3, I suppose. And then we're going to get on to all those new games when they come out in February, Dead Space, Aliens, that kind of stuff. So that's going to be the coming week. If you miss out on any of that news, obviously we'll have a big long video that you can listen to me ramble about the news for a little while in, and you can check it out that way too. So I'm going to say that's going to be a video, and thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more.